Don't put that in the video.
Oh, I'm totally putting you in the video.
Oh God. This is bad. I just got Ring of Life, dude.
Damn. I'm still here. Still finna trying.
There's also this thing called Tombs of Amascut.
And that's exactly where we'll begin. Welcome back. You guys asked, we delivered. Tombs of Amascut Part 2. That little intro was just a nice little hat tip to my brother. He was the pro at losing, easily taking all of our lives and bringing us from hardcore status to just regular old lame group Ironman status. So let's dive in. Just a quick inventory refresher, what you might consider bringing. This is a budget approach, a low approach. First of all, Ancient's help for Akkha and Baba. You're gonna want Ancient Magics. 2, if you have access to Anglers or Ironman, but use them if you have them. 3, Sarah Brews. They're actually not that necessary on easier modes because you'll get them after Kefri. And then 4, Voice Chat. Make sure to have Voice Chat if you're doing duos, because you'll need it for the monkeys.
Oh God. Alright, so that was a complete disaster. But you got him.
Wrecked them.
I'm on my way back.
This is the fun part about RuneScape.
Don't put that in the video.
Oh, I'm totally putting you in the video. All right, take 2. We actually one-shot Zabak, getting back to the part 2, and then we take out Kefri in fine fashion. And that will lead us to the beginning of today's guide, which will be Akkha, Baba, and the Warden boss. So let's dive in. The first thing we need to do is claim from this helpful spirit now that Kefri is downed. The helpful spirit will give us 3 options: life, chaos, and power. Most new people will always go chaos because we're after a good balance of brews, restores, and smelling salts. The smelling salts really being the most important of all. Now in duos, sometimes there's an imbalance of what you get, so you can trade your partner, and maybe if somebody gets 3 salts, somebody can go an ambrosia or liquid adrenaline, which restores spec energy for the final boss, which is a huge help later on. So just talk with your duos partner and manage supplies accordingly because they can be traded. Now that we enter the pickaxe room, this is a room where you should have placed a pickaxe beforehand. So if you didn't do that, obviously go back and, well, you need a pickaxe. The better the pickaxe, the more damage is done. And then this is a Legend of Zelda moment where you have the mirror rooms and you need to get the mirrors to bounce the light that this guy shoots every so often from the beam to the shielded guy. And then as soon as the mirrors are lined up, you're going to want to start mining that thing in the middle together as quickly as possible. If you have at least rune pickaxes, you can 2-cycle this. So you only need to do it twice as long as you both get the damage in time. If the black ball is coming at you, just eat the damage and then soak it, and that's okay because it's worth 2-cycling versus 3-cycling, so you don't have to do this whole puzzle a 3rd time. And as you can see there, we already took half the HP. So rinse and repeat 1 more time. Let your better teammate do all the mirrors while you eat the black dots and take damage, and mine the statue. Easy room, easy win. Get some mining experience while you wait. All right, mission accomplished. We mined the room of whatever we were mining. Weird mining boss there. But anyways, time to put down the pickaxe, pick up the axe, put down the pickaxe, and move on to the next room. Make sure to exit west, never eat soggy waffles, northeast, southwest, exit west. As the ceiling starts to collapse in on you, there's no actual rush. And now we are at the first boss of part 2. Akkha is a large human warrior encountered at the end of the Path of Het within the Tombs of Amascut. Once a warrior who dedicated himself to the god Het, Akkha eventually believed that the god had abandoned him, leading him to join the Children of Rebirth, a cult dedicated to the goddess of rebirth. However, none of you care about any of that. You probably just want to know how to kill him, especially in duos mode. So let's talk it out. This guy can pray. This guy can pray multiple prayers at the same time. Something I wish I could do so I wouldn't die so often, but I sadly can't. And there's a lot of mechanics that you need to know when it comes to managing this fight with your duo's partner. So let's dive in and go through the mechanics as we take down Akkha. This is your chance to salt up and get ready for the fight. So the first thing we do is top off our stats before clicking in, and then Akkha has a 3-cycle rotation. You'll be praying, protect melee, and attacking him with mage to start out. As you can see, before the shadows appear with Akkha, you can kite him in a circle with your partner while praying protect melee, because he'll start out by meleeing you and you'll start out by maging him, and that's because that's the only prayer he's not praying so far. So get your best spell ready, do as much damage as you can to him right here while saving some food and resources by kiting him. That way you take as little damage as possible for this phase while you gear up for the main fight. Once Akkha takes enough damage, 4 shadows are going to pop up. Let's focus on this first mechanic. You'll want to focus a shadow first, but you'll see here that he slams the ground and activates this ability where certain colors will light up. You both want to be standing on the tiles that light up in that region, otherwise you'll take a good amount of damage. So whatever the pattern and lights are, go to those regions, and then after that cycle, go back to killing the shadow. Just remember, every 7 attacks, Akkha's switching styles. Now, he's not praying melee, so you need to attack him with melee, and then while attacking him with melee, you go from praying melee to praying ranged, as you can see here. Stand a good distance apart from your opponent, from your teammate, and don't move around when you can avoid it. This is because, as you can see here, my teammate turned white and there's going to be a splash effect. And if you're standing diagonal from each other in the position that we're in, you'll avoid taking that damage here. Once you do enough damage, you can see again, he's switched styles. Now you want to attack him with range while protecting mage, and of course, taking down that second shadow as quickly as possible. We both turned black here, so you want to make sure not to move, otherwise you'll spawn orbs just like I did right there, and those orbs, if stepped on, will do some damage to you. So continue to cycle through. Now we're praying melee, back to mage, and it's always that pattern. It never shifts. It's always a predictable pattern here. We're both glowing white, stand catty corner, avoid the lightnings from each other, and then continue to cycle through. Once you kill all 4 shadows, there's going to be the final phase, and once you get this part down, it's relatively straightforward, pretty conservative on supplies, so you guys should be totally fine to complete this phase together. The most important thing is to not panic when you start taking damage and just work as a team to coordinate, because there's not any attacks that could just blow you up in one hit. As with most of these fuckers, the boss heals when you kill him, and then there's one final phase. This is where most people panic. Split the room. Somebody take east side, somebody take west side, and then you're responsible for damaging the boss on either side. So, as you can see, these stupid white orbs will absolutely obliterate you and stack you out, so keep your health high because it goes from nothing to something really quickly, and just do your best to avoid them. From there, get your DDS on, or a spec weapon where you can hit him as many times as possible when the shadow pops up in the respective place. It's totally random, there's no sense of what happens, and take him out to finish the fight. As a friendly reminder, your prayer and health are healed after each boss fight, not the minigames runes, but the boss fights. So try to save supplies, especially on the prayer side, if you're getting close to that point. Let's talk to the spirit. Akkha has been downed.
Oh, here's the worst part. The fucking monkeys. Do you remember how to do this?
Yeah, essentially just we gotta communicate. And that's exactly what we don't do. Welcome to the monkey room. This is often the toughest part for many people in duos when it comes to ToA. If you have barrage, if you have a multi-burst sort of tactic for freezing, it really comes in handy. You'll see that I pop salts here. That way the salts keep my magic up at a level, so even though I'm brewing, it regenerates back so I can still use barrage through this fight. If you don't have it and it's only single target, you really have to rock, paper, scissors it to use the combat styles that are effective against each type of monkey. So there's a number of different waves and core mechanics. The first thing to note is the first person that walks in gets what's called monkey sight early on. So they're the only ones who can see what you need to be doing, and they need to call it out in order to make sure that you do the mechanics properly. So before walking in, you need to get the potion and you need to get a hammer, because there's three main mechanics. There's vents, there's repairing the pillars, and then there is when your friend turns red. And when they turn red, you need to have them stop moving and pour the neutralizing potion on them. So make sure those core mechanics are, and then as you can see, the monkey vision switches, and then your teammate will have it. Some of the sub mechanics, you can see that's what's called a volatile baboon. They just run at you in kamikaze. So my teammate's red, but that thing will absolutely nuke him. So he needs to stop running. He already took the damage from it, but you need to pour the neutralizing potion on your teammate when it's red. The second type of monkey that you need to focus is that poison pooper known as the cursed baboon. That poison will tick you for 20 plus damage if you don't have an anti-poison in your inventory. So make sure to drink it if you do get poisoned. You can move diagonal 2 spaces over the poison. And also note that you're completely safe while standing on the vents from the poison, but not the volatiles. Keep up with the monkeys. They can quickly get out of control. Try to keep the room as little poisoned as possible. And we'll see an example. There's the pillars. So tell your opponent, you're the only one who can see it. Tell your teammate, hey, you have to repair the pillars. And if you see the XP tick for construction come up, you know you did it. And now vision's passed back to my brother, so he's the one who has to call it out. That's the main components of the monkey room. You'll just be able to see it gets increasingly more chaotic, and you want to make sure to kite the volatiles, because there's certain spawns where 2 or 3 of them will pop up at the same time, and they can one tick you out of existence right back to Lumbridge. As usual, when we're rusty, that room hurt us.
It's a nightmare. It's the hardest part of the whole room.
Can I have a prayer pot?
Yeah. And then when the baboons come out, we burn the booms.
Welcome to Baba. Baba is an ancient baboon matriarch, that's right, she's a girl, encountered at the end of Path of Atmakin within the Tombs of Amascut. She was once the matriarch of a large troop of baboons whose domain spread across a large area of the Caridian Desert. Baba feared for the future of her troop as she aged, longing to continue ruling as matriarch, as she did not see her heir, her daughter, as a worthy successor due to her lazy and arrogant nature. And as you can see, Baba's very old because you can see her ribs. Let's dive in on how to defeat Baba. Baba has easier mechanics, but can nuke you harder than other bosses if you mess them up. I would make sure to salt before going in, and then get ready in your ranging gear or your melee gear, depending on what you do more damage, and basically pray melee the entire time. Also have some offensives on, especially if you have the restores available for extra prayer potions. He's going to aggro onto one person, so they'll be mainly tanking while the other person does damage. And then you'll see from the ceiling that he'll be dropping rocks and also doing that crosshairs attack where it forms a diamond on the ground. You want to get out of it and start moving right away. And it's pretty easy to fight Baba while moving pretty constantly. As you can see, there's a lot going on already. The baboon spawns are up, there's rocks on the ground, and you need to fight him near those rocks that spawn, because he's going to throw 2 boulders that will absolutely obliterate you if you're not near them. So those big rocks on the ground soak in the damage so you don't take them. Additionally, if you don't kill the baboons, they'll open up those tombs with the mummies in them, and then they'll be shooting you for the rest of the boss fight. This is phase 2, where there's rolling boulders. 1 of the 5 are cracked, and both of your teammates need to shoot it, otherwise you take a lot of damage. So you both shoot it, and then you run through it. And if you get in sync, if you get really good with this and you're lined up, you can just run past the boss. And once you're past him, you can start doing damage, and you're safe from all the future boulders. We don't successfully execute this. We get smacked around right here. It's the thought that counts. So those are really the key mechanics of Baba, and he's going to do that 3 times throughout the fight based on how much damage you've dealt. There you can see the crosshair attack again, and like I said, continuous movement really is your friend against Baba. And this is what a successful run through looks like. You both need to go, otherwise it's kind of pointless. I've been beating you on these bosses. I got 2 of these little token things.
Yeah, because you ruby bolted.
So that's Baba down, simple as that. Once you get out of there, claim the helpful spirit, and like I said, you're gonna want salts, you're gonna want resupplies. That way you're ready for the Wardens fight. It's a tough fight. Every little bit helps and everything contributes. Make sure to talk with your partner again to exchange supplies. They are tradable. Sometimes people get those silk dressings, the blessed crystal scarabs, and sometimes people don't. So you can trade those and exchange them, and make sure the worst player has the ambrosia if somebody's more comfortable with the fight than the other, because the ambrosia, quite honestly, saves me just about every fight. Let's get into the Wardens. You'll notice when you walk in, you can go into the boss fight without it starting. Both of you need to talk to the spirit in order to start the fight. And you can see the Wardens over there charging up, being ready for that final fight. So this is a good time to prep, make sure everybody's in sync, because you can't pause once the fight starts. It's a 3-phase fight, and you want to make sure to be using things like resupply and have your inventory ready to go before this fight begins. Tumikin's Warden is the final boss of ToA, and he's fought along Eldinus's Warden. The Wardens are ancient massive automations built by Tumikin himself using a staff of great power. Sounds like a drop we want. One imbued with his divine essence. Let's talk about the first phase as we get started here. So you can see from the positioning that one teammate soaks in 8 of these little balls, 8 of these little energy orbs to stagger, and depending on how you do it, you're going to have a different fight experience. So we're charging up the left one first and then the right one second. That's going to lead to Disco Party, which is the first phase here, going away from the obelisk, which generally we attack with melee, and then going in to attack this obelisk. Phase 1 is very easy, but if you get hit by those, they'll stack you out really quickly, so just don't mess that up. From here, if you disable the charging on the right side, the first thing you'll do is stack here. There'll be 2 giant balls flying at you, so stack on your partner. And then the other obelisk will be shooting ones where you want to spread out. And you can see we weren't stacked, so we got absolutely smacked for a 28. and the ones where you spread out, you still get hit for a 14. So you're going to take a lot of damage in that phase if you mess it up. Don't be bad like us. There's me getting hit by Disco Party as well. And then go back and you can see the obelisk falls relatively quickly. Here, make sure to resupply and make sure your inventory is ready for part 2. This is the phase that I consider to be the hardest part of the Wardens here. If the obelisk goes down, you won't take damage from them. Just get ready. The first phase will start in range gear. Here we go. So you hear that sound, that means you should be praying ranged right there. So volume is pretty essential for this fight. It really helps to know what he's about to shoot ahead of the animation. There's a lot of prayer swapping and you're punished heavily if you don't get it right. This first phase is pretty straightforward where there's some stuff to dodge on the floor. Oh, okay, so that is a pray mage. The blue is pray mage and it will turn off your prayer if you don't get it. So you'll take a lot of damage from all of these. And then that red blast is a pray against magic. So it switches between magic and ranged, and you can see you get hit relatively hard as it occurs. The range phase is over, and now you want to get out your spec weapon to hit this as hard as possible and just spec it down. If you have the liquid adrenaline, it will make your special attack run out half as fast so you can get more specs in. His health goes up and then it goes down. So in this phase, now phase 2 is back to magic, but there's going to be even more going on. So that's a prey range, the white arrow. And now you'll continue to kite, hopefully in the same direction as your team so he doesn't melee smack you. So again, you're going to be prey flicking a lot, and then there's going to be lightning bolts coming from the sky, and you really want to dodge those, as well as again, you have to hit him with magic here because he's praying melee and ranged. These are some of the core mechanics, and it's really just about the feel of making sure that you're prayer flicking properly and getting it all right, because he can on a regular basis shoot either pray magic or pray ranged when you hear that bell effect, but he'll also spit something like that where you need to be praying magic, and if you miss it you get hit really hard like I just did, and you can get stacked out really easily. So the blue orb is pray magic, the white arrow is pray ranged, and the red sword is pray melee. There's another blue orb, and there's another hit. So again, there's a lot happening in this room. Kite in the same direction as your teammate so it doesn't look like a mess like this fight. And you should be able to get him in 3 cycles if you get your specs off properly together. There's the white arrow for ranged. There's one more mechanic I wanted to show you right there. I got encased in stone. He'll shoot something that looks like the prey range, but it's actually a stone freeze, and it can really lock you up and freeze you. I think your teammate can attack it to get you out more quickly. So just be on the lookout for that final mechanic of phase 2. Very easy to dodge, especially if you're moving a lot. So as phase 2 goes down, be sure to resupply. This will probably be your final chance as the phase 3 pops up.
Holy shit.
Middle.
The tiles aren't marked.
Oh, left. Now middle. Right. Left. Middle.
So as you can see, it's pretty important to have that middle tile marked. Use the add-on in RuneLight, and that will help you. It goes right, left, middle.
You didn't move either.
I know.
So his second mechanic is the melee wave. So just equip your DDS or whatever you have and attack these little energy siphons. They do not have a GCD global cooldown, so you can just tick them off really quickly and then go from each one to each one, and then go back to ranging the boss. This is pretty straightforward for this phase. and then eventually some of the ghosts of old past will start popping up. The first one will be Akkha, and he'll start either ranging you or maging you, and that shifts every 3 attacks.
Akkha's up. I think we play range, right? Yeah.
The ranged animation's pretty easy to see. It looks like that, and then he will staff slam just like he switches his attack in the other one every 3. So right there you can see now he's going to start shooting magic at you. So Akkha alone, pretty easy. Kefri spawns right about now, and he will start spewing poop from the ceilings. So when you go left, right, center, you want to zigzag a little, and you can see the shadow coming down. So just really don't stand in any shadows while prayer rotating and flicking, and then work your way to the final phase of the final boss.
Gotta zigzag a little now. Middle. Zigzag. Right mage. Okay, final phase, right mage. It's the fuck all phase. Don't forget about ambrosia.
And that's some good advice, because I always almost use it. Make sure your salts are used, make sure your wrappings are used, and your ambrosia is ready to be used. Keep your prayer high, make sure you're flicking, and then stay out of the shadows, and make sure you're not on the back rank when the tiles get ripped out from under you. The phase will get closer and closer to the boss, and taking some damage is almost inevitable. So try to minimize it, and you can see right there as I'm getting close to being stacked out, pop that ambrosia and just stay alive. Make sure to keep doing damage, and also use restores to keep your prayer skills up, because you can see that my range level is only 61 here out of 90, and that's going to reduce a lot of damage on the boss. So keep dancing, keep moving, and keep switching between a magic and ranged, and hold on for dear life, because this is it. This is the final phase. You've made it to stage 3 of the Wardens in duos, and victory is about to be yours.
Holy
Easy.
shit.
How are your supplies?
I was so out. I have I have 2 nectar doses. Not 2 nectars, 2 nectar doses.
Dude, I have so many. We need to split that better.
Yeah, plus I got the fucking token again, dude. You're slacking.
And that's ToA for duos, folks. Again, thank you so much for coming along with this journey. Let us know what you want to see. Do you guys want to see a corrupted gauntlet tutorial? Happy to make one. Anyways, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out that IRL experience app and let me know what you think that we developed. We're pretty excited about that launch. It's coming soon. It's ready. We just need a solid group of people who want to participate. So, I'd love to know your thoughts on that.